Alrighty, guys, welcome back to another Mod Review Monday. Um, I want to try and differentiate, week by week. I don't want to just hit truck after truck or, you know, Pete after Pete after Pete after Pete. Uh, I think it's good to just get a little variety in there. So this week we are going to be looking at Jasper's Wheel Pack. In the pack, you get 3 files, although I will say that you really only need 2 of them. In fact, I think this no dirt tires wheel pack, I believe, is obsolete. I went through with and without it, and I couldn't really see a difference. So if I'm wrong about that, please feel free to correct me in the comments. But from what I could tell, it is unnecessary. But these are the 3 files that you get in. I'm gonna leave it in for the review just so you guys can see. And I'll tell you a bit more information about this pack once we get into the truck customization menu. So I'll see you in there. Alright, guys. We are in the truck customization menu with our International 9900. As you guys saw, the only mod that we have running is what comes with Jasper's Wheel Pack. As just so there's no conflicts, you see base game what it looks like. We're going to throw it on an SCS truck. So this mod does cost $15.49. It does come with a lot though as far as tires go. So here is the SCS. I think they have it labeled as wide tire. Yeah, standard wide chrome. It's alright, but as you can see, like it's pretty rough, to be honest with you. And like personally, I've never seen a float that angles outward. Typically, it's flat or angles inward a bit. And it's not really clean. Yeah, it's chrome. Going down the road, you're fine, but honestly, for certain people, this really won't matter because they just want to drive the truck. They don't care about the nitty gritty of it. So, if this ain't for you, this ain't for you. But I personally enjoy it. But we're gonna start with the. I'm gonna pull this hub cover off, and we're gonna start with the hubs, seeing as that is what the rim attaches to. On the left, you'll see that we have 4 different versions of hubs. We got just American paint, and you can paint it, and you'll see that it does change the back of the hub as well. Paint 2, paint 3, and we also have a rusty one. So if you want to do a role play that you just picked up a old rusty truck and it has a rusty paint job on it, this would work perfectly for you. And you could still change the color of that, which white's probably your best option, but you can change the color of it. That's the real difference between paint 1 and paint 3. I know they kind of look similar, but it's just the tabs that hold the rim on. So I'll rock with paint 1, and let's go through the rims. So as you can see, there are a lot of options. A lot of options. And a lot of these are repeats because there's a painted version or a chrome version or just a regular just non-polished aluminum version. But we're gonna go through all that. So he does offer just plain steelies. These are just your Accurite steel wheels. Nothing special about these. They are paintable. If you want to do like a blackout truck, these would be good for it. As you can see, very clean. Not choppy like the last one. You'll notice that it did switch the tire as well to one of his tires. I mean, we'll get even closer outside, but you could see all the lines and the endurance. You could read a lot of this that wasn't legible last time. And we'll go over tires in a minute. We also have this rim in a rust version. And we have it in a 24.5, so you'll notice that it is a bigger diameter tire and wheel. We have that in rust as well. Moving on down, we have a 5-hole variant. Same options. And then we have directionals. And these are paintable as well. This is when we start to get into the polished. You can see, and again, we'll get closer, but you can see the marks from where this was, milled to make this wheel. And the polish is cleaner. We also have it in just a more standard aluminum. This one's a bit brighter. We also have this same pattern going the opposite way. Polished, standard. And then we have those same two variants, but in a 24.5 version. The next wheel that we have is going to be just the classic Alcoa. This is just the painted version. Polished. And on these Alcoas where there's more space in between, you could really see the quality of the greens. Standard. We have the Alcoa style, or the Freightliner style Alcoa. Again, in paint, polished, standard. We have the Kenworth style. And then we got the Alcoa level 1s, which I will go back, is a bit different from the classic. The holes are just a bit bigger. Paint, polished, standard. And then we have the Alcoa 1 V2s, which are even bigger holes. Moving on down, we got our Peterbilt style. And now we have a different offset of wheel, and this one's a very minor change, so I'll put this one on. This is the 8.25 offset, and if we go up to the other level 1 that is a 9.0 offset, you'll see that that wheel comes out a bit further. So in the 8.205 offsets, we again have the level 1 in paint, polished, and standard. We also have a Durablack by Alcoa. And then we have the level 1 V2s with the bigger holes. And now we have he has it labeled as flat face. These are going to be your flotation tires. They're not 425s. These are going to be running 385 tires on them. So as you can see, that definitely beefs up your truck quite a bit. We have this in paint, polished, and standard. Now this is the V2 version, and there's a regular version, and you'll see that the offset is going to be the difference here. So I'll show you from this angle, and the angle that you'll really see the difference is going to be here. So I mean, if you like that poke on a tire, this is definitely going to be your wheel of choice. So we have this one as well as in a paint, polished, and standard version. So moving down back to the 8.25 offsets, we have our Alcoa big holes, chrome standard, or I'm sorry, polished standard paint, Um, and these are all on 22.5 wheels. Freightliner paint polished. And again, these are different than the top ones by offset. So um, they're the same wheel pretty much, just the angles change between where they attach to the hub to where the bead is on the tire. We also have Freightliner Durablack, Freightliner V2s, which are your directionals. Kenworth Durablacks, but these are very big holes. Paint, polished, standard. Kenworth V2s, paint, polished, standard. And then we also have Kenworth V3s, paint, polished, standard. These are definitely, I'd say probably more of your show trucks would have, these wheels. Got the Kenworth 6 holes. We have OEM Max. We have these Durablack Kenworth 100th anniversary wheels in a 22 and a 24.5. Got the Durablack Pete's. Kenworth 100th edition 22.5 polished. Standard. We have that in the 24.5 polished. We have the Peterbilt in paint, polished, standard. We also have Western Star patterns. And then we got the Alcoa Classics in the 24.5. Freightliners in 24.5s. Kenworths in 24.5s. Level 1 V2s in 24.5s. This is the 24.5s of these in a different offset. I will say, especially going through every single one now, I would like to see these grouped together a bit better. Because it does start to look the same. So it'd be nice to have, all the Kenworth ones together, all the Western Star ones together, all the Alcoa level ones together, so you could see side by side what it is, instead of having to scroll through and find every single different one. Got more level ones. V2s. And again, it does kind of look like there's repeats, but the difference really comes in with the diameter of the wheel, whether it's a 22.5 or a 24.5, and with the offset, whether it's an 8.25 or a 9.0. And then you got to remember that there's a Durablack polished paint and just bare aluminum version for each of them. So, there are a lot of options per wheel. These are definitely for more of your crazier builds, the huge holes, the mega holes is what they're called. More Max, Durablack Western Stars, and that is the end of it. While I have on this regular sized wheel, I'll go over the tires with you. So for our tires, there is a regular as well as a polished version. And you'll see that there is a color wheel. or a color palette here on the right. So if you notice with the regular version, he has it set to where it looks like there is dirt on it, which is cool, especially if you want to look like, you know, your truck does hit the road or whatever. But if you wanted to take this, a non-polished tire, and make it look newer, you could adjust this to really, not crazy, but you know, now it looks like a fresh tire. And you could really adjust this if you really got, you know, into some crazy mud or something, or you know, however you want to play this. Heck, if you wanted to have blue treads, you can do that if you wanted to. But this is uh, why I said that no dirt thing I think is obsolete, because you could just adjust it right here to make it look like it has no dirt. Every tire has a regular as well as a polished option, and that's just the difference of having tire shine on the side of it essentially. And even these ones you see can adjust um, the color of the tread. So we have, I'll try and keep it here so you see the tread pattern. We have Goodyear Endurance LHDs as well as LHSs. Michelin Line Energies and Line Energy Zs. If we go down to a smaller wheel here, where's my 22.5s? There we go. 22.5. We'll throw on this one. We get a couple more options. So we got the LHDs as well as the LHSs. We got the Energy D pluses and the Zs. But now we have the Michelin Multi Z, and this is a low pro tire. So you'll see the sidewall is significantly smaller. If you like that slam look, this would definitely be your wheel, especially if you went with something like, you know, something like that. So you got this low pro option when you go the smaller rim size. I will also show you while I'm here the face V2 polish. Now you will notice that the flat face does not have a 24.5 version. That is realistic because the sidewall of the tire compensates for it, so that's completely fine. For tires here, just two options. Goodyear MSAs, again, polished or non, and Michelin XFA2s. And these will be probably more so on, like, you know, not hitting off-road applications. This is, you know, great for logging or construction sites, you know. I'm going to leave the non-polished version on so we can get up close to this tire later and possibly read it. We also have nut and hub cover options. So for nuts, we have a good deal of options. We have original long paints if you wanted long, just studs. And these can be changed. We also have amber paint and polished. So if you like those little, right now it's set to kind of look like reflectors on the end, but you could change them if you wanted white or blue or whatever, had a little pop of color. We have that in a standard version. You can see it's a bit more dull. American Standard, these are just your spike tips. And we have them in a long. And a long paint. And we have also, from the standard, we have a polished version, which is just a bit more polished up. Then we have the American paint, which is just the short ones painted, and we have them in polished as well. So there's a painted and polished for all of them, or painted, polished, and standard for all of them, and some of them have a long and short version or variant. So with the Baby Moons, we have paints, polished, and standard. Show you how far those stick out. We also have Bolivians, which these are more flat on the end. They're not rounded off. We have this in a standard, long paint, long polished, as well as the short paint and short polished. We also have a flanged. This is just like a regular nut cover, paint, polished, standard. We got indicators to, in real life you'd have these set, and if they move you'll know your lug nuts are backing off. You could paint those. You could have them all facing another direction, or you could even have them where they're clipped together to help keep them locked on. You also have these ones, which are at the end of a nut cover. It's an interesting design. You got Italians, which I'll go back to the flanged so you can see the difference. So a bit thinner, a bit more of a point. Got that in a paint, polished. We have a jewel paint and polished. Now the paint will change the color of your jewel. We also have it in a standard. King Crow polished. These are a bit longer than the Italian. I think they're a bit different shape as well. Oh yeah, for sure. So we got the King Crow polished, standard. We just have regular lug nut covers, paint, polished, and standard. And then we just have our regular lug nuts here in a paintable, as well as a rusted. Like I said, if you want to do that rusted look, you just found this truck, you do that. We have pointed paint. Now you see that these ones are smooth on the side with a little point. You have that in a polished and standard version. We have our Pro Fleet paint and polished and standard, as well as a long version, polished and standard. Now I'll go to the King Crow. You see the difference. There is, oh, I'm sorry, I went to the wrong one. Pro Fleet polished versus King Crow polished. Yeah, the Pro Fleet's a bit skinnier. And then we have 7.5 paint, polished, standard, as well as a long paint, polished, and standard. And I'll go to the Bolivian so you can see the difference on those because they do look similar. Way fatter on the Bolivians. So we'll just throw on Bolivian polished. And the last customization option for the wheels is your hub covers. This is just your standard hub cover. You have a rusted version, paintable of course, but again, if you want to RP it, you have an exclusive. This is this has the sight glass for your oil. Obviously there's no oil in the game, but in real life this would be your little sight glass for your oil. But you could also paint this rubber plug. You have the paint in black, so the black will be The rubber will be black, and then you could paint just your little hub cover. Paint in red. You can do a polished in paint, so you'll change the color of that plug. A second variant of that with a little indent here for your oil level. Paint the plug. You got this standard. Now the difference is similar, but you'll see that the polish is a bit brighter. So we got the standard paint 2. Hubdometer SKF oil cap. This will block out your hub and just put your oil cap there. You could have it painted. Here we have the stem coil oil cap exclusive. That plug is changeable, and you'll see that this sight glass will change with the painted version. And we have it in a chrome as well, with your plug being able to be colored. We also have a pointed paint, pointed polish, and a pointed standard. Now you'll notice that a lot of these you could change to kind of match your lug nut covers, whatever you want to run. We have our baby moon, which is this little dome. Polish standard. Got our American paint, polish and standard. Or I'm sorry, just, yep, and the standard down here. And you'll see that actually goes around your lug nut covers. We also have a rusted version of this one. We have these Alcoa complete covers. Now this will take off your lug nut covers. If you try and do another one, it'll poke through and it will look super funky. We got this in a paint polished standard as well as the Durablack. And that's all for our hub covers. Alright, so moving on to the back. We are going to kind of run through these pretty quick because a lot of the options are the same as the front as far as wheel patterns go. The one thing I will show you though a bit more up close is the offset difference. So if we go here, I know the level 1 has different offsets. If we go to the level 1 polished, this is the 9.0 offset, and this is going to be the 8.25 offset. You'll see it's a bit wider. So that's the difference between the 8.25 and the 9. So it's a lot harder to see if, you know, we're looking at the rim here. It does change a little bit, but I just wanted to show you guys what the actual difference would be. We're going to run through it just on one axle. So I'm going to go through these and probably not talk too much, but just show you guys what all the different patterns are. So we're going to paint. Paint. And these are, again, 22.5 and 24.5 versions. So I will say too, all these wheels that you just saw me go through on the back of this truck will work on a trailer as well. And from all the mods that I use personally, I've never had it not work on a modded truck or trailer. If you have a modded truck or trailer and these don't work, feel free to let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to know that. But from just my findings, I haven't had any issues with it. All right, so for our hubs, we have um, a good little bit of options. We got just the American paint, and we also have an option to have it with a brake drum. You'll see back here it does change it, and I'll change the angle as well. The brake drum itself isn't paintable on this one, but um, as you can see, there's no brakes on these wheels, so that'll just add in a drum. So if you're looking at, from this angle, it'll look a bit better. We also have rust paintable, rust with the brake drum, American 2 paint, and I'll show you the difference. It's just that centerpiece, as well as with the drum in the back. And then we have the Stemco. See the color changes behind there. And we have that with the brake drum behind as well. For nut covers, we have, again, I'll probably go through these a little quick because a lot of them are the same as the front. American long paint, short paint, baby moon, Bolivian long, Bolivian paint. We have our flanged paint, indicators paint, 2, 3, and 4. Italian, Lugnut covers, original, which again, original long, pointed, Profleet, long. So those are your nut cover options. For hub covers, you'll see there are a couple different options from the front, and it's just done a little bit differently, just because the back hubs are different than the fronts. So we could paint the nuts on the edge of the hub cover, or have them aluminum or black. We could also do the American paint, which is just the full, covers everything. Baby moon, which I'll try and get a good angle on this one. It just pops it out a bit more, a little bit of a dome. I'll probably stay out here. Pointed paint, point. The Alcoa, just like the front, covers the lug nuts, polished and standard. So it's a Durablack. American Rust, polished, standard. Same for the Baby Moon. So this is actually pretty cool back here. If you want to do something, to match your truck, so our truck's like a dark red, so you could have it match your lug nuts around, or your lug nut covers. So I do kind of like that. Whoopsies. Polished, Baby Moon, just regular lug nuts, pointed, 7.5s. You can have just the whole cap be flat. Baby Moon, which It's hard to see from here, but it just domes it out. Pointed. This is the pointed polish, and then you have a T-cane paint, and this just covers everything all smooth. We got your nuts again. If you want to run an aero truck, hey, he's got you. Paint, just black plastic, polished or standard, and those are all your hub cover options. Throw those on. Now back here for tires, we have a couple options. We got our Goodyear LHDs, again, polished or unpolished. Our LHSs, the Line Energy D pluses, and the Line Energy Zs. And this is on the, what do we got on this? A 24.5. If we go down to a 22.5, you'll see that we have a couple more options. So again, the LHDs, the LHSs, D pluses, the Zs, and we got the multi-Zs. So that's your low pro tire in the back too. So you could lower your whole truck a little bit just by changing the wheels on it. It'll have a bit lower of a look. Alright guys, so here we are outside in the up close and personal part of this. Sorry for the shaky camera, just this camera angle is kind of hard to make it smooth. As you can see, you could pretty much read all that. You can see the grains in the wheel itself. The reflection's good in the back. You can see we are at the international dealership. So reflection's good. You can read a little bit of that. So pretty decent there. If you look at the tread here. Whoop. Tread looks good. Looks like, you know, actually looks 3D. It's not just a print, which I appreciate. Moving on back, I threw on just a regular painted wheel here, which, I mean, you could read that clear as day. Our hub, you can read all of that. Even, you know, down to the valve stems and the valve stem covers. I also threw on a different wheel so we could check that out. Here's our rusted version, which from about here looks good. I don't imagine it's an easy texture to really nail. You can see it is looks a bit 2D. This is a good side by side. Here you can see I threw on a polished tire, so it's got that shine to it. This one's definitely, it's clean, but it's definitely dull. This one has that shine to it, that little bit of reflection. You can see the Air National building in the back. And again, the tire treads aren't just slapped with a 2D texture. It's actually 3D. You can see right in the groove to that other tire. And I didn't change the colors, so this is the color that the tire would naturally be if you selected the polished versus the kind of dirty looking tire. You can see that these treads are 3D as well. You can see the fender in the back. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's Mod Review Monday. I definitely want to keep things fresh, kind of want to do things not everyone does. Let me know if you guys liked it. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Let me know what you guys want to see next Monday. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. That way you can be notified every Monday when these videos drop. I'll try and have them out to you first thing in the morning. And hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Keep those wheels turning.